Hello neighbors, I'm Sonia Ketting, a volunteer member of the League of Women Voters of Larimer County. I'm here to describe to you what some Larimer County voters will find on the November election ballot. I won't speak the Loveland issues here, though you can find them on vote411.org. The pros and cons published by the League are not the opinions or endorsements of the League or the City of Fort Collins. Instead, we obtain statements from the individuals and groups who have registered in support or opposition of each issue. Both of the ballot issues this year are referendums. This means they've been referred to the voters by the Colorado legislature. Ballot measures may be propositions which change Colorado law and may be modified by legislative action, or they're constitutional amendments, which are amendments to the Constitution and may only be changed by a later voter-approved constitutional amendment. This year, there are two referred measures from the legislature. Both measures are statutory and do not change our Constitution. Let's go over the two proposals. Proposition CC, retain state government revenue. This includes these provisions. It asks us to allow state government to keep and spend all revenue collected each year beginning in fiscal year 2019 and 20. It would require that those additional revenues be spent for public schools, higher education, and transportation projects instead of returned to taxpayers. This proposal authorizes an annual independent audit on the money kept and spent. A constitutional provision known as TABOR, the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, was passed in 1992, which limits the amount of money the state can spend each year. The provision limits the amount of revenue based on a formula of population growth, inflation, and any voter-approved changes. The revenue limit for the current fiscal year of 19 to 20 is about $15 billion. Approximately 1/3 of the money that the state collects is subject to the revenue limit. Certain funds are exempt from the limit, and that includes federal funds, cash-funded state programs, fees, etc. These funds are included in the state budget. All money collected above the revenue limit must be returned to the taxpayers per TABOR. Most of the money is refunded by way of a credit on your state income tax returns. In the event that this proposal passes, the state would permanently keep all revenue collected, and it would be spent equally on education and higher education, and transportation, which is roads, bridges, and transit. The state auditor is required to publish a report of monies received and spent as a result of Proposition CC should it pass. If this proposal fails, the excess revenue would be returned to the taxpayers, and that's happened in 9 of the last 26 years. In the current budget year, legislative economists have estimated that $310 million would be collected above the revenue limit. In the following budget year of 2020 to 21, it is estimated that the revenue above the limit would be about $342 million. If these funds were returned to taxpayers over the next 2 years, the amount would range from $26 to $90 per taxpayer, or double if filing jointly. The economy and future legislative decisions will determine any future economic numbers. The citizens' right to vote on any new tax increase is protected in this proposal. A yes vote on CC changes law so that the state can keep money it collects over its revenue limit to spend on education and transportation. A no vote would mean that taxpayers must be refunded any money collected by the state over its revenue limit, as is currently required. To discover which groups formally registered in favor and opposition, you can go to vote411.org or the Colorado Secretary of State's website. Next, we have Proposition DD. It's legalization and taxation of sports betting. This proposal authorizes and regulates sports betting in Colorado. The major provisions include authorizing sports betting in the state. It authorizes a 10% tax on the net proceeds through licensed casinos, and it would establish a fund to direct the revenue from the sports betting to help fund the state water plan, gambling addiction services, and to regulate the sports betting. Decades ago, a bill was passed by the U.S. Congress giving Las Vegas the authority to conduct sports betting. Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that allowing only Las Vegas to conduct sports betting was unconstitutional, and states could decide if they want to offer legal sports betting as well. Since that court ruling, 15 states have taken advantage of the new rules. That would create a regulated sports betting market in their state. Based on estimates from the Blue Book, Proposition DD will raise an estimated $16 to $29 million of tax on the net proceeds of casino sports betting. Only casinos or vendors who operate sports betting through a casino will pay the tax. In doing so, this proposal allows sports betting to be licensed, but only through mountain casinos, where gambling currently takes place in our state. That's Central City, Black Hawk, and Cripple Creek. The sports betting proposal authorizes a 10% tax on the net proceeds. A small portion of the revenue from the tax will be used to regulate and enforce gaming. Another portion would go to a hold harmless fund for community colleges, casino communities, and the state historical fund. The remaining revenue, over 90% of it, will be used to help fund the Colorado Water Plan. Why is this question on the ballot? Voters are considering this proposal because the Colorado Constitution requires voter approval of all new taxes as well as on questions related to gambling. The Colorado Division of Gaming and the Colorado Limited Gaming and Control Commission will be in charge of regulating all aspects, making rules, issuing business licenses, and enforcing all sports betting regulations. Colorado residents will be able to place sports bets through the casinos, either online or on mobile sports betting platforms, if this passes. Those 21 years of age or older are eligible to place a sports bet of any amount beginning in May of 2020, if DD is approved by voters. Funds for the Colorado Water Plan are an emphasis of this. The plan was released in 2015 and follows an agreement by water interests from throughout Colorado. The plan identifies objectives and goals to address future state water needs. State law identifies the types of projects that can be funded, including water storage and supply, conservation and land use, engagement and innovation, agriculture, environment, and recreation. The Colorado Water Conservation Board will oversee implementation of the plan if passed and approve water project grants. Tax proceeds may also be used to fund interstate water obligations. Colorado's population is expected to double by the year 2060, and at current usage rates, our water supply will not keep up with that growth. The Colorado Water Plan's intent is to have farms and ranches remain productive. Also, it intends that recreation, communities, and nature have healthy flowing rivers and that cities have reliable, clean, safe drinking water supplies. If you vote yes on Proposition DD, sports betting will be legal and taxed in Colorado and will receive up to $29 million to be directed toward the state water plan. If you vote no on Proposition DD, sports betting will remain illegal in Colorado. For more detail on who put forth these ideas, please visit vote411.org. That's a website produced by the League of Women Voters, and it's active at election time, or you could refer to the Secretary of State website. The League of Women Voters appreciates your time in listening to detail behind local ballot issues of 2019. Referendum 1A comes to voters from our 3 Larimer County commissioners. It represents a tax increase of 0.5% for 20 years and has often been referred to as the half-penny tax. The tax does not apply to food or medicine, and it would expire in the year 2040. In 2020 alone, revenue from the tax is estimated to be $39 million. The commissioners are requesting this tax for several reasons. First, $10 million is slated for I-25 improvements between State Highway 402 and State Highway 66, which is the Longmont Lions exit. It's our county's match to a larger fund with other cities for improvements, including widening to 3 lanes. It would be given at the pace of $2 million per year for 5 years. The largest portion of proceeds from the half-penny tax, about half, would go to expand and improve streets in our county's cities and towns. Another 15 to 20% would be for public transportation, and about 35% would be used to build and maintain current and future built resources for Larimer County. Today, Larimer County population is about 354,000 people. It is projected to grow to over 508,000 people by the year 2045. If you vote yes on 1A, supporters say the half-penny tax will help our county prepare for projected growth by addressing transportation gaps and ensuring quality public facilities and services for years to come. Proponents also like that the tax is not on food and medicine, but will in part be paid by visitors. Proponents also say the half-penny proposal divvies funds between regional transportation, services for children, families, seniors, and veterans, and public safety. All of these countywide issues warrant our support now. Closely tied to transportation is a need for an improved campus to support and connect human, economic, and health services, the proponents argue. This includes child and adult protective services, food stamps, women, infants, and children program, caregiver support, the county workforce center, and programs for veterans. Voters in favor might say these multiple locations deserve solutions to connect people with important programs. Customers needing critical human services should be able to get multiple needs met in a one-stop shop environment. The half-penny tax proposes funding the expansion of programs as well as the Justice Center building and Old Town parking. More alternatives to jail are also critical, suggest proponents. While community corrections is designed to keep our communities safe, the half-penny proposal's two-pronged approach to public safety development includes monies for increased access to jail alternatives, expanded opportunities for treatment courts, and more timely processing of family law, child protection, and civil cases. Opponents to ballot issue 1A suggest Larimer County cannot live within its means. This sales tax is an increase from 0.8% to 1.2%. Opponents point out that one reason given for the sales tax was a predicted 44% increase in Larimer County's population by 2045. Does it make sense to impose a sales tax now because of a prediction that's 26 years into the future? The population of Larimer County has increased almost 40% in the last 20 years, and it hasn't created the need for such a huge increase in revenue. That's what opponents say. Any increased population will generate much more tax revenue for the county because the tax base will also increase. Another point against is that only $10 million of the expected $800 million windfall is designated for a specific project. The other $790 million is left to the whims of the county commissioners, whoever they might be in the years to come. The only requirement is an annual report to tell us how the money is spent after it's spent. Finally, opponents say, why do our commissioners give refunds by reducing mill levies and then ask voters for more tax? Now we'll discuss Poudre School District's request for mill levy override, known as Ballot Issue 4A. Poudre School District voters are being asked to approve an $18 million property tax increase. The money is intended for salaries. Specifically, this would increase first-year teacher salaries, restructure the salary schedule in order to recruit and retain high-quality teachers, and maintain competitive wages for support staff. That includes custodians, bus drivers, and child nutrition staff. It also would increase the number of mental health professionals serving students, and it intends to enhance school safety and security. No revenue from this tax will be used for administrative salaries or capital improvements. A mill levy override committee will monitor the expenditures. For perspective, this increase represents about $130 on a home valued at $400,000. Despite property tax increases as a result of this year's increased property valuations, Poudre School District will not see an increase in its total funding because the state's share of funding for the district drops when property taxes rise. The starting salary for teachers in Poudre School District is $38,371 for the 2019-20 school year. In nearby St. Vrain Valley School District, starting salary is now $43,000. Thompson School District's starting salary is now $40,000. The school board says funds from the mill levy override will be used in the following ways. $14.7 million will increase first-year teacher salaries, restructure the existing teacher salary schedule, and maintain competitive wages for the support staff. $2 million will be for mental health and safety security personnel, and $1.3 million will be for Poudre School District charter schools as required by state law. Now, here are some ideas that support a yes vote for 4A. Great schools with great teachers are essential for building our great community. Our Poudre School District has great teachers and other staff who need competitive salaries to work and live in the communities they serve. Improving student mental health is a priority for our Poudre School District community. Mental health needs continue to increase, and we must provide counselors and school psychologists to meet these critical mental health needs, proponents say. This funding would allow Poudre School District to enhance school safety and security by hiring and training more security personnel. Education funding in Colorado is among the lowest in the nation, and Poudre School District's share of state funding is among the lowest compared to other school districts in our state. This measure will not fund any administrative salaries or capital improvements, proponents remind us, and a mill levy committee will monitor expenditures. Now, these ideas would support a no vote for 4A. Since Poudre School District voters approved a bond and mill levy in the November 2016 election, it is too soon for the school district to ask voters to approve another tax increase. The district has created a crisis in staff compensation, say opponents, in which its employees were compelled to lobby the Board of Education for relief, bringing 4A to the ballot. This crisis can easily be seen to be the result of misplaced priorities and many missteps over the past several years, according to opponents. If we approve this tax, we diminish the prospects for a reasonable statewide tax increase to better fund education throughout Colorado, opponents would say. In 2016, the year-over-year student enrollment growth in the district flatlined to nearly 0%. The district proceeded to borrow $375 million in one bond sale and sold the bonds at the high interest rate of 5%. These missteps are forcing the district to levy large taxes for years into the future in order to build more facilities than any reasonable estimate of future student enrollment growth would require, according to opponents. This additional burden on taxpayers will not guarantee improvement in academic achievements. Thanks for taking the time to understand your 2019 ballot. For more detailed information, visit vote411.org. That's a website by the League of Women Voters where you can see all the issues and learn more about the candidates on your specific ballot. You can also find polling centers there. Every registered voter receives a ballot in the mail, regardless of whether you voted in last election. If you don't receive a ballot or have moved, check your registration on vote411.org. You can register to vote up to and including on Election Day at a polling center. All ballots are due by 7 p.m. on Tuesday, November 5th. Please vote. Your community depends on you.